So we've talked a lot about comparing yourself to people, and why it may not be the best thing for you. So really, what is the harm in comparison? Long story short, a lot.
Yeah, really.
It's first of all, it's bad for your sense of self. And that is something that you always want to try to protect or enrich every single day of your life, because if you lose your sense of self, you lose everything. Mark Twain once said, comparison is the death of joy, and he's right. Yeah. Research has found that comparing yourself to others can constantly lead to feelings of envy, low self-esteem, and in some cases, depression. I mean, they always say the grass is greener on the other side, but is it really?
Right. No.
Do you know?
And that's the thing. That's the reason that the phrase "the grass is greener on the other side" isn't saying like that's not a positive thing. It's saying it always looks better when you're not involved.
Yeah.
Like comparing yourself to other people can lead to taking pleasure in other people's failures or shortcomings in order to feel like you are enough. Competitiveness isn't a friend of collaboration. And I love that you wrote that, because I was like, that needs to be like on a poster.
Yes.
I'm going to say it again. Competitiveness is not the friend of collaboration. It's pretty difficult to be a cheerleader for yourself, let alone other people that you surround yourself with, if you're hyper-focused on what other people are doing.
I used to be this person. I used to be the schadenfreude bitch that would, like, anytime someone around me would stumble or do less better than me, I would take joy in that, because I was a miserable fucking person. Don't be that person.
Well, and that, I mean, it just shatters your self-esteem, because if you're constantly comparing yourself to other people and not yourself, like compare yourself to yourself.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, life is about competing with yourself to progress and be a better person, right? But when you're comparing yourself to other people, it's impossible to do that.
Yeah, it took me a long time to figure that out.
I mean, I was in the same boat, especially when I was like young in the industry. Like I had no self-esteem. And because I didn't have any self-esteem, I took joy in other people failing, because I thought that somehow that equated to me being on top. That is not what that means. It means that somebody else made a mistake and you just didn't make that mistake yet.
Right? It's a miserable fucking existence, paying attention and trying to keep up with what everyone else is doing. When you hear the phrase "stay in your lane," this is where I feel like stay in your lane is the most applicable in the scheme of life.
Yeah.
Like, who gives a fuck
Don't
what's
worry
going
about
on
what other
around
people
you?
are doing.
Yeah.
Like, worry about you.
Because here's the other thing. When you're trying to compare yourself to people on the internet, you're not even getting 100% accurate information that you see on social media. You know, the things that I put on social media? Shit that I decide I want you to see. That's like this much of my daily life. I'm a hella private person. You see this much of what I actually do every day. Sometimes it's more than others on Instagram, but like... You have no idea.
But that's what social media is. That's something to keep in mind all the time. Like, I know that it's really easy to, I wouldn't even call it a trap, but you seek out the things that you aspire to be. So the things that you're following on Instagram, I follow a lot of fitness accounts on Instagram because that's a big chunk of my life. But remember on social media that it's a highlight reel. Yeah. Like, people are only showing you their ups typically. They're not going to show you the downtime. You're not going to see the struggles. You're only going to see what people want you to see. And it's usually only that highlight reel, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to post a picture of me bawling my eyes out. That's way too vulnerable for me. And I think that is the same for most people. That's just how social media is set up. Every single person's life has peaks and valleys. And trying to keep up with someone's highlight reel isn't fair to yourself.
It's not fair to you. You're doing yourself a disservice, but it's also not fair to the people that you're putting on a pedestal from social media that are normal people.